we were the first ones like up near the counter, the front of the line. And there were a couple of officials in the line, picking out people, profiling people in the line and asking for passports and their credentials or their itinerary. And so they flagged me, they flagged the guy I was with, they flagged about 3 Indian guys and 3 black guys while I was there. So while we were in the line, they asked me, okay, where I was staying, show me your check mig. And that was pretty much it. They didn't ask the other in-depth questions until after I got my passport stamp. So I actually had 3 check bags, and 2 of them were full of things I was going to give away to this organization in Medellin. I picked up a few pounds, so I had a bunch of clothes and a bunch of shoes, school supplies, makeup, perfumes, toiletries, all this stuff I was going to deliver to them. But that was in by the carousel, by the pickup, but they stopped me before I got there. This one lady just came out of nowhere and just stopped me. So she stopped me and then said, hey, what brings you to Colombia? I go, I'm here for the flower festival. I want to take some videos. I have a YouTube channel. And she was like, well, let me see your YouTube channel. And so I was a little nervous. I get a little jittery. That's just me. So because of the reception, I couldn't pull up the channel right away. So she was like, well, let me see your phone. So she took my phone away and she's looking around, and then I gave them the name of my channel, Pathfinder. However, if you pull up Pathfinder, Nissan Pathfinder pops up, right? I'm probably way down on the totem pole. And so to make a long story short, they weren't able to find it. Then she started asking me, about my job, how much money I make, what else do you do? And I start telling her about some of my hobbies and things like that. And I told her I was going to see the car show and the Silatero parade, I think it's called. The people that carry the flowers on their back in the parade. And she goes, well, do you have an itinerary? Do you know where it's going to be? Do you know the street? Do you know what time it starts? And I'm like, well, no, I was hoping to find all that when I got here. So after that, she goes, well, do you know anybody here? I go, yeah, I have a friend down in Guatapé. And I finally found his number. The immigration people were cool. It was this one other lady, she was plain closed. And I was about to go through and, immigration like nodded, yeah, that's a Colombian number. Yep. And she goes, well, you say you do this, you say you're a chef, you say you have a YouTube channel. I told her about my job. You say you're in sales, you say you're here none of this is making sense to me. So I'm like, what part of that doesn't she understand?
Okay, so what happened in the room and how long were you there?
So they got me in the room and they checked all my luggage, and then they got on my cell phone. They checked all my pictures and everything. They went through my cell phone. So, but the main thing she said was, and you don't have an itinerary. Everybody else in the line has an itinerary.
No, they don't. No, they don't. I'm positive they don't.
Like, they put you in this room. I was in there from 3 o'clock till like 11:30.
Damn.
A couch in it, a couple of small couches, a desk, and there's 2 rooms with like beds in it. Once I got in there, I was like, they ain't letting me out of here. There's a bed right there. They're keeping me here. And so I stayed there until about 11:30, and then they escorted me up to the departure section of the concourse. I was able to. They let me get some food, and I got my Colombian coffee and my candy right there. That's some of my favorite stuff. So I was able to do that. They didn't really treat me like a criminal, and actually the door was open where I could walk out and approach a customs official if I wanted to, but I wouldn't advise that. So now the other revealing thing is that one of the ladies that came in, she had a piece of paper with the declaration, and I said, "Can I have a copy of that?" And she said, "No." But it was in my passport. I don't know if they were giving that to to American Airlines or whatever. but it stated that I deceived or lied to immigration officials when asked about what I was going to be doing in Colombia.
This is a crazy story, man. Do you have any plans on going back to Colombia? Or are you kind of done?
So that was my 5th time. One of my buddies went last year. The last time I was there was like March of 22. And then one of my buddies went after that, like 8 months later. And he said it kind of changed. It wasn't as great as it used to be. So because of the flower festival, I like getting, if you look at any of my YouTube videos, I'm not chasing booty.
Okay.
So you don't see that in my videos. I like, doing hiking and going to different areas and exploring. And I thought, so many guys are doing the same thing in Medellin, like, talking about clubs and, the hookup culture, all of that. So I was like, man, I'm going to go shoot the flower festival because Feria de las Flores, because that's that's their largest cultural event. So, but they also asked my buddy, why are you here? He said the flower festival. He said the guy told him that you're not here for the flower festival. Why are you here? So my buddy kind of, stood his ground and said, I am, but that's my buddy over there. He told me all about it. He's been here before. And then a different lady pulled me aside.
Wow. So your friends end up getting in though.
Yeah. He get it. It was his first time there. And I was on WhatsApp with him like every 2 hours for his whole trip, like for 5 days, just to make sure he was okay, guiding him around where to go, where not to go, where to exchange money, where to go to the market, stuff like that. So I was with him like damn near 24/7.
Okay, I got a question here about my man Jay. Now says, are you still allowed to return?
Yeah, I can return back. They didn't. I guess somebody was suggested that they can go back into your passport and stamp some kind of rejection stamp or something, but they didn't do anything like that. But when I got back to customs, the guy told me back to Border Patrol, he goes, you know what? The next time you travel, I'm going to write a report and pull it up, and it'll have an explanation of what happened. You're free to go. In a nutshell, pretty much.
No, they said that in Medellin or the States?
No, they said that in Florida. In Florida. Now, whether they let me back in Medellin, I don't know. But yeah, I don't suspect I have any problems traveling anywhere else.
Do you want to explain that? Like, why would they say that is drug activity? Do you think?
So I've read before. I do a lot of research, man. I read the foreign trades, the newspapers, everything. And so if they suggest, if you come to them and say I'm here for this, and they say no, you're lying. What do they the number one thing they normally think, in the U.S. Border Patrol agent told me this, is that they think you might be involved in drugs. So they pull everybody over that comes in from Colombia and some of these other countries. Now, I don't believe that part, but so I guess if I'm lying, which I wasn't, then what am I really doing there? So the first thing that came up, they don't have any evidence on anything else because I wasn't doing anything else. Well, maybe he's here for drugs. So because Colombia is known as like a drug hub. So it was just that was the reason why.
Do you feel like they just kind of randomly just kind of pulled point? Was there anybody else denied entry besides you?
I can't really see all that. Oh, so yeah. So my friend that went with me, he said, I guess he questioned him, like, why are y'all holding him? Blah, 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 blah. This is ridiculous. Why are you guys pulling people over to the side? They told him that, well, we're checking everybody. We just pulled over a 79-year-old guy and sent him back. So I didn't see that, and you can't really see what they're doing to anybody else.
Okay, so do you think it's just some random? They just kind of just pulled you out and just on some random. You just got kind of
it was random. It was random. I think somebody said in a chat the other day, yesterday, saying, well, maybe you were talking too much and you told them too much. So, I told them that I had a friend that lived down in Guatapé, and she was like, well, pull his number up. So I'm trying to pull it up and I can't get it up. My hands are shaking a little bit. Finally, I was able to pull his number up, and the people from immigration were cool. it was just this one plainclothes lady. I don't know who she worked for, but they were like, yeah, that's, you know, I understand a little Spanish. They were like, see, that's the Colombian number. And she goes, well, pull it up. Let me see the last.
Okay, so the immigration was kind of on your side. This is just
immigration was on my side.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't flagged, or I was flagged by immigration initially, but they stamped me and sent me through.
Okay.
Once right before I picked up my luggage, and people saying, well, you know, maybe he didn't have his hotel right. All that stuff was done. You have to put that in your Check MIG. The Check MIG app is down, so I just went on the website and then I took a screenshot. So I had all of that. So they the Check MIG, you know, where I was staying, none of that was a factor. It was just this one lady. I don't know who she worked for. She was plainclothes. She just came out of nowhere right before I picked up my luggage, after I got my passport stamped.
Damn. And on top of that, so the airline, when this happens, the airline doesn't refund your money at all, huh?
So they sent me back to Miami, even though I live in LA. But they, American Airlines was cool. The people in the room were cool. They were like, we don't know why they did this. The American Airlines was like, so sorry, I don't know what happened. Everybody was cool. Immigration was cool. American Airlines, U.S. Border Patrol. It was just this one lady, man. This one lady.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Highlight of 2016 on John Super Chat says some solo guys are being blocked entry to Colombia. All right, shout out to you, Highlight 2016. Now let's talk about a little bit about the cell phone, man. I mean,
yeah.
Do you have to turn over your cell phone to them? Is that like a requirement?
You know what? I didn't try to fight it. I wasn't trying to hide anything, so I just let them. I let them look at it. I gave it to them because they were asking me. They were, you know, I was telling them, well, here's a video. Pull this video up. Video up, and then my channel will pop up. And so they didn't want to do that, and they had the phone, and then they kind of they looked at some pictures. I saw them looking at pictures, and then they gave me my phone back. So I wasn't too concerned about, you know, what was in my phone.
Okay, so you don't know if you could just say, "No, I'm not giving you my phone. I'm just, I'm not."
I don't know. Yeah, maybe you could, but I just didn't do it, and I wasn't concerned because I don't have any nefarious pictures or anything on my phone. So nefarious, whatever that word is, that might not be the correct word, but I wasn't concerned about anything because U.S. Border Patrol had my phone for 3 hours.
Whoa! They unlocked your phone and they went to your phone for 3 hours.
Yeah, when I got back to Florida,
they would have found all types of shit on my phone.
So I was like, when I got my phone back, I'm like, man, you guys didn't delete any of my pictures or videos, did you? He goes, no, we didn't do that. So they gave me my phone back after they gave it to the techie guys for 3 hours.
I want you to listen to this, man. They are going through people's phone, holding your phone for 3 hours. That's a lot, bro. I didn't even know they could legally even do that.
Yeah, apparently
you're not a criminal. Like you haven't done anything wrong. So why would they go through your phone? Like they're supposed to be looking for like drug activity. Now I will say this has happened to some friends of mine, like some people I know, but they were they was in someone's phone log that was doing that drug dealing from Colombia to America. So the people that was in his phone log, somehow those people started to come back to America. They started interrogating them and looking through their phones. To me, that's different because, you know, you're being questioned of your association with somebody that has sold drugs.
Right.
But you're just a random guy just traveling, trying to enjoy, you know, get some content for YouTube on the Fall Festival.
Yeah. So, yeah, even my, I told my friend, I go, man, they asked me about you at U.S. border. So I gave him all your information. So just be ready for it. And sure enough, when he got back to U.S. Border Patrol, he didn't have no problem coming out of Colombia. He got to Border Patrol. They pulled him in the office too. But he said he was in there just for a few minutes and he was gone. So, but they did take his phone too. But he said that they didn't search it like they searched mine.
Okay. Well, like I said before, man, are you kind of done now with Colombia? Do you have any plans of going back, or you just kind of just want to give it a break?
I mean, I've been there. That would have been my 5th time. I mean,
there's really nothing more for me. I wouldn't mind going back, but I'm not dying to go back to Medellin because, see, I'm one of those guys, when I travel, I like to go out. I like to do excursions and stuff like that. You really can't do that in Colombia. It's really not that safe. So my next trip, I'm going back to Costa Rica, because that's like my first love, that in Brazil. Costa Rica was, actually, I've been to Europe. I've been to 16 different countries, but I'll probably go back to Costa Rica before I go back to Colombia, because I can do more things there that I like to do.
Because for some odd reason, that was just a random target. It seemed like to me that it's some type of agency that they kind of, might have recently hired, and they want to meet some type of quota. That's what it sounds like to me. Because usually that's what goes on in these type of situations is, well, we hired this little extra agency to kind of thumb through questionable travelers, and you haven't seen anybody back in 3 months. So it's like, okay, let me just, pick some random guy. Oh, yeah, you go. You by yourself. You're not with a family or anything. Let me just get you and, question you and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I would have got through smoothly. So when the first time I went, I had a manila envelope with all my hard copies of everything I wanted to do. Everything I wanted. If I had that, I would have been there. There's no question about it. They would have never pulled me aside, because I had trouble with reception, contrary to what people are saying in the chat. I had trouble pulling stuff up in there. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. But they were able to pull their phones up, but I wasn't able to pull up my channel. I wasn't able to pull up my contacts information. That took like 5 minutes for my friend's information to come up. So I was able to show them that number, but with YouTube, I couldn't pull it up. And if you guys look at my YouTube videos, there's nothing to hide.
Okay. Chalupe71 says they don't need a warrant when you are at a port of entry in customs. Okay, that's good information to know.
Right.
But
they never even knew that I had brought all of that luggage and stuff to give away. They never saw that stuff. I told American Airlines that, after they told me they couldn't find my after they told me they couldn't find my luggage. So people were saying, well, they were probably, because you brought all that luggage, they thought you were doing this. No one even saw my luggage, and I already had my passport stamp. So all of that bull crap is moot.
Okay. Now I want to ask you this, man. I don't know how much time you got. I don't want to hold you too long, but if you want to rock with us, you can. I'm gonna bring some other guys on the panel. Rod M says customs is targeting black men. Black men must be up to no good in Medellin. Do you feel like you was targeted because you was black, or you think you were just a random draw to that?
So it's funny, man. It's funny because back in the day, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months ago, I was on Razor Ray's show going well when I think you were the first person that showed like them like targeting, profiling like black people. And I was like, nah, man, they're, I read an article, I saw a video on Minuto 30, and I'm like, man, they're pulling everybody aside, not just black people. But I will say this, when I got there, they targeted, I didn't see anything. They profiled me, my buddy, and another black guy in the line, and then 3 Indian guys.
Okay, so no others was targeted at all. It just
not at that moment because what they did was they didn't pull us out of line. They came to us while we were in line at this point where they could just walk up to the stanchion and ask us questions. So, but yeah.
Okay, but that's kind of normal when they kind of come at you in line, right? You talking about when you in the line waiting to go through migration, they just kind of come up to you and look and ask you why you're there.
Yeah, that was the first time that's ever happened to me, and that was my 5th time there. But that's the first time they'd come up to me in the line.
Yeah, they do that. They do. I mean, they've done that to me before. But the issue is when you got out of the line dealing with a whole different secret agency that you don't know nothing about, plain clothes.
Yeah, I don't know who this lady worked for, and she spoke good English. So,
I got pulled over a couple times. Coming back, and one time trying to leave Colombia.
You got pulled over where? In Colombia or?
In Colombia one time when I was leaving, not before I got there. When I was leaving, they pulled me over one time, and then coming back once I hit the U.S., they pulled me over twice. So when I was leaving Colombia, they called my name on a loudspeaker. I'm like, yo, why are they calling my name on a loudspeaker? That's just random as hell. So they pulled me over to a room or whatever. They asked me for my passport and everything. And then they asked me a couple of questions. I was in there for about like 10 minutes. I was like, yo, how long I'm going to be here? I don't want to miss my flight. I was in there for 10 minutes to get my passport back and I left. So the other couple of times I'm coming back or whatever, they got me in Miami. And it's not because you have a criminal record, man. They're targeting minorities. Every time I got pulled over, whether it was one time in Colombia or twice coming back to Miami, because I live in Miami, you know, it's the gateway for everybody coming back to the US. When I was in those rooms, it was no white dudes in those rooms, man. It was all couple of Asians, mostly black and Latinos in the room or whatever. So one time I got pulled over. I was in the room for 3 hours. The other time I got pulled over, I was in the room for 6 hours. Like I got back to Miami like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. When I left, it was nighttime. Trying to leave the airport. It was crazy, man. So what they're doing now, they're taking your phone, and they are stopping people for drug trafficking. So basically, they grabbed my phone. I was like, yo, well, they pulled me in the room. They're like, yo, we want to ask you a bunch of questions, blah, blah, blah. They went through my luggage or whatever, and they were asking me all these different questions or whatever, asking for my passport or whatever. They're like, oh, we need your phone also. So they asked me for the password and everything, whatever. I'm like, yo, why you asking me all these questions, so on and so forth or whatever. They're like, oh, we need to check a few things, make sure you're not dealing any drugs or so on and so forth or whatever. So they came back to me and they're like, oh, do you know this guy right here? I'm like, how would I know this guy? They're like, well, he's also coming from Colombia and this and this and that and that. We have some suspicion that you guys might be like dealing drugs or whatever. I'm like, what city is he coming from? They're like, oh, he's coming from Medellin. I'm like, I'm coming from Cartagena, so how would I know that guy? They're like, well, we have some inside information or whatever that red flagged you and you're kind of suspicious or whatever. And it's not because of criminal record, because I don't have a criminal record. You're just pulling over minorities or whatever. So
damn.
I gave them the password to my phone or whatever. They went through my phone or whatever. So by the time they were done, those 6 hours, they came back, they printed out a whole bunch of stuff that was in my phone, like transcripts or whatever, from like Tinder, Bumble, Instagram, so on.
What?
Yeah,
damn.
They printed it all out and they gave my phone back. They're like, oh, we didn't find anything. You're free to go. They're like, oh, if you know anybody that's in certain illegal activities in Colombia or whatever, or you know anybody that's going back and forth that's involved in illegal activities, let us know. We'll be interested. There might be a reward or whatever. So Eddie Easy, he's in the group on Facebook. He was being belligerent and he didn't want to give up the password to his phone. They kept his phone for a week. They told him you can
okay, so wait.
Phone.
Okay, but so that's the question. So they can't technically get into your phone. Is that what you're saying? Like he just said, fuck it, and I'm not giving you my phone.
Yeah, they have to put through software to scan everything in your phone, or if you don't give them the password or whatever. So he was being belligerent. He didn't want to give up his password to his phone. They kept his phone and told him, hey, he can come back and get it in a week.
Wow.
So they kept his phone. And
were they able to get in his phone though?
They was able to get in his phone. They got the software to get in your phone. So every time I'm coming back from Colombia now, what I always do, I delete Instagram, I delete Tinder, I delete Bumble, I delete everything on Facebook, app, or whatever, so on and so forth, and log out of everything on the internet or whatever. So whenever they're going through anything, I can just get through fast and not have any issues if I ever get stopped or whatever. Because I have no Tinder, no Instagram, nothing for them to read. Like I said, they do scan your phone and they pull out a whole transcript of all the conversations. And then later on, they go through and translate all the messages if it's in another language.
That is crazy as hell. That is crazy as hell. I want to give a shout out to Savoy Fair, $2 super chat once again. BMT, they saw a lot of naked women on my phone. Wow, that is crazy. I mean, I've never had this issue going to other countries, man. I mean, is Colombia still even worth it, bro? They gotta do all that. I mean, there's a lot of drug activities going on. We understand that, but who's coming through the airport with all that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 2024, man. They got different ways to. It's just crazy to me, man. I don't know.
You know, I never they never left the room with my phone, so they didn't like upload anything or print anything out. They just had it for a few minutes and then they gave it back to me. So
that's interesting, bro. I'm glad you told us that, bro. Guys, you hearing this right now, man. You might want to clear some things off You know, you got some butt naked pictures on there with it, you know, with a couple of women or something. You might want to clear that out before you go to Colombia right now. So, yeah, more tougher. You feel like more of an interrogation coming back to U.S. Customs or in Colombia?
I would say I didn't get a chance to come back this time because I never got out of the airport. But I would say going in. So I was going to say this before. I've never seen so many like people, officials, non-closed officials, in immigration standing over there before you get to like the luggage carousel. I've never seen so many officials before in my life standing in that airport. I'm like, man, and I knew what they were on, man. I knew what they're doing, and you know, I applaud their effort for keeping crazy people out of the country. But they had a bunch of people out there this time, like watching everybody. I've never seen anything like it.